If I say to you pirate games, your mind probably instantly goes to a few of the best games in the genre. Sea of Thieves, Assassin's Creed Black Flag, or if you're getting up there in your years, Monkey Island and the Adventures of Guybrush Threepwood might spring to mind. Don't worry, you're in the right place according to the analytics, we're all old here. These games are all fantastic in their own rights, and deserve that place in your heart. But sadly, the youngest of these games is Sea of Thieves, which came out in 2018. 8 fucking years ago, Jesus Christ. So we are definitely overdue some new blood in the marketplace, and thankfully this past week Windrose finally hit early access on Steam. Created by Kraken Express, their first title, and it has already made some waves with a solid demo released prior to the early access dropping, which garnered some real interest and some very excited fans dying for a piece of the pirate pie. Now, if you're here, you're probably wondering one main thing. Is it worth playing now, or should I wait and see how it pans out? Well, my dudes, I had the same exact thought process as I added it to my basket and hit checkout, knowing full well that this could be a very rough experience. I have had a hard and fast rule these days, which is to avoid early access as much as possible, but this was one game I was always going to struggle to let pass me by. If you're new here, I'm on a never-ending quest to kill as much time as possible and find as many phenomenal time sinks in gaming as I can, and when I played the demo for this game last month, I kind of knew I might be onto something with this game. So after buying it and installing it and creating my character, I found myself marooned and ready to begin my survival and the rise to the top of the pirate food chain. Windrose is a survival crafting pirate adventure game that can be played solo or with a bunch of your buds. The story is pretty straightforward. You are a rising pirate that has shown up on Blackbeard's radar and he's pretty pissed about it. So, after he attempts to loot and pillage from you, leaving you for dead and the ship smoldering in the water, you wake up washed up on an island, half dead, and now you have to craft, build, level, and gear up so you can progress to taking down the legendary Blackbeard. Crafting in this game follows a traditional path. You are going to need to head out and explore many islands to gather what you need to build your armor, build your weapons, and get yourself ready to take on progressively more and more challenging enemies, which leads us onto the combat. Combat in this game works in two different aspects. There is ground combat, which includes swords and flintlocks, or rifles and blunderbusses. Then there is the naval combat, which is our old favorite, the cannons. To start with the weaker of the two, which is the melee. The combat feels fine, and that is about as much as I can say right now. It's not great, and it's not utterly terrible. It's firmly somewhere in the middle, and whilst that might not excite you, I do need to remind you that this game is early access, and player feedback is important and helps build and flesh out the areas that maybe it needs. And the ground combat could do with a serious second glance. There is parrying, blocking, and of course shooting, but it feels a little undercooked. It could do with some serious playtesting and feedback, and that's kind of why we're all here. If it was perfect out the gate, this wouldn't be early access. However, naval combat is the aspect you can tell and feel has had so much time spent on it that it feels incredibly tight. Like your mom. The cannons roar on as you fire them. The ability to control the cannons at the helm of the ship and instruct your crew to fire, along with the weight and sound design of blasting, genuinely feels epic. Heading into naval combat is genuinely such a joy, and the structure of the fight feels amazing. Blasting the living hell out of pirate scum, taking them down far enough so you can board the ship with the crew and slaughter them does feel pretty awesome, or you can just keep blasting and enjoy the spoils of war once they're sunk. And when you're all done with that, that, then you get to sail around with your crew, and this game really does do a wonderful job of making you feel like you're on board with a bunch of scurvy sea dogs, singing shanties, being part of your crew, respecting you as a captain. It's amazing. Yes, I said shanties. The shanties are wonderful and so damn good, along with a lot of the music in this game. Look at the atmosphere this kind of thing creates, just for a second.
With them we'll spend our hard-earned pay. Good morning, ladies all. We'll swing around, we'll have good fun with a heave-ho-ho. And soon we'll be back on the homeward run. Good morning, ladies all.
I don't know about you, but I get tingles down my spine every time I start hearing one of these fucking shanties, and my toes start tapping, and I just love sailing around with this. As I said earlier, this game is also both a solo experience and a co-op one, and coming from someone who's been playing this experience co-op, it's pretty damn good. Running around and exploring the different islands, settlements, caves, and dungeons together feels awesome. Each player's loot is instance initially, meaning you kind of get duplicates of whatever you find. So realistically, you won't run into problems when you're trying to get gear because you don't need to share it. However, you do have duplicates that you can both access, which is nice. Progression is tied to questing, which this game has in spades. NPCs you meet will give you quests that are multi-layered, but each layer grants you experience, which is needed to progress and level up. Which leads us on to... Skills and progression in this game is tied to a few aspects. Gear can be leveled up at the respective workbenches, and then there's also the skill tree, which encompasses defensive tanky style builds, marksman, DPS heavy, and DPS speed builds. Or, to make it simpler, tank, range, DPS, and glass cannon. The skill tree is easy to navigate and understand, and does genuinely seem to impact the build path you take, which is always a good thing, as pointless skills end up feeling hollow and underwhelming for progression. There is also a stat-based progression on each level up as well: strength, agility, precision, mastery, vitality, and endurance. So the progress feels really good. There is definitely room for improvement, but for an early access game day one, I can't complain, honestly. I could nitpick, but I really don't think I need to. Exploration in Windrose feels solid so far, with 3 biomes released at launch, which could take you anywhere from 10 to 15 hours per biome to explore, level through, and experience, each with its own distinct feel, enemy type, crops, ores, and a hell of a whole lot more. The visuals, by the way, let's just quickly touch on them, are breathtaking. This game looks absolutely beautiful. The ambience, the lighting, the places like Tortuga or the faction bases look really good, and it does drag you headfirst into the full experience, and I can't praise it enough. Not to mention, for early access, this has got to be one of the best optimized early access day one games I've ever sat down and played. I've experienced a few issues here or there with rendering, but nothing I could honestly complain about. The game does a lot extremely well, and if this is just the starting block, it's only going to get better from here. The game, however, does take a lot of cues from Valheim and Enshrouded, both games that I have played quite a bit of, and you can feel the inspiration from those games here. The crafting, build, and food system all feel very familiar, but in a good way. This doesn't feel like they've just copied their mate's homework, but more so seen that a system worked so well that there wasn't much room or need for improvement. And to that end, I have no complaints. I loved the building systems in those games, and it felt instinctual to pick it up here. For those of you who've played those games, as opposed to learning a whole system, it feels same, and that's fine. The building feels and looks really damn good, and it gives you the ability to build pretty much whatever you want, wherever you want. Building materials are unlockable through different factions, which you will need to grind rep with by turning in insignias from enemies you kill or ships that you sink. That will, in time, unlock blueprints for not just building materials, but a whole host of gear, upgrades, and even merchants you can bring back to your base that will go out and get supplies for you to help with the journey. This is not also including the idea of being able to recruit people that help with certain specialization skills. There's a lot going on here. You can structure your builds however you want. Windrose decided to unveil this huge pirate castle style build, which was built between 2 rocks in one of the islands, and it looks pretty fucking sick, let's be real. You could also build a town, which is what I'm slowly working on in my own game. The limit really does come down to what you want to do. It is a really robust and player-friendly build system which works extremely well in its current state, and will only be expanded on as more biomes release and future content is pushed out. If I was going to give some criticism, it would be aimed at the ground-based combat, which I've already spoken on, and the progression unlocks are a bit off. For example, you have a pistol from the start of the game, which you can use by finding gunpowder around the world. However, crafting that gunpowder is not something you will hit until you hit the second biome, which could be anywhere from 10 to 15 hours worth of gameplay. But during that time, you could choose to skill into a skill tree based entirely around guns, which is great. Thanks for giving me all this stuff, but not letting me build the goddamn thing needed to fire the gun. Like, bro, please. The other thing I would like to touch on quickly is this. Like I said, at the start of the game, you start marooned and work your way towards getting your ship and crew is pretty much the whole of the tutorial, which can take you anywhere from 2 to 5 hours depending on the speed you play at. So do keep this in mind. This is the type of game that does require you to put in some time to get out of it what you want. However, once you have that ship and the tutorial is completed, the world really is your oyster. I wouldn't normally feel the need to really explain this, but after reading this fucking shit heap of a review written for PC Gamer, I can't help but stress to people who might not have come from a survival crafting game background that this game does require some work to get off the ground. That is just kind of the genre. Also, can we just quickly talk about this review? This cunt played 4 fucking hours of a survival crafting game and then just wrote a fucking review. This is an absolute piss take. Someone gets paid for this journalism. This is fucking embarrassing. Sorry, to get back to the question I first posed when we started this video. Is this a game you should pick up now, or wait a bit for? Well, that depends on you. We live in a time of broken promises and dreams when it comes to early access games. It's heartbreaking when something releases that you had such high expectations for and it turns out to be complete dog shit. Looking at you the day before. However, we do also get diamonds in the rough, games that are clearly made by a passionate team who are doing what they can to make an experience that truly does need your backing and your guidance. To play and get into those on the ground floor of those kind of games and see it develop and change and get better with feedback and quality of life changes that you help shape is something really awesome. This game, in my honest opinion, is one of those diamonds in the rough, and it does deserve your time and support. The devs have worked tirelessly since its release this past week with updates, hotfixes, and troubleshooting everything that has come their way in the Discord and the feedback that they have gotten, and that to me is a really positive sign that shows a lot of promise in the future. For me, I would say if any part of this video tickles your pickle, honestly, it might be a pretty good shout to pick this game up and jump into the Discord and start giving all the feedback you can, because this game really does feel like it could be the next big thing when it comes to pirate adventures. And much like adventures, the journey is the best part. To wrap up my own personal goal, when I say time sink, this is the exact kind of game I'm talking about. This is a game that really does and can suck away your entire life. This game released on Tuesday last week, and I'm recording this dialogue on Friday. And here's the amount of time I have played in that time. Yeah, that's quite a bad thing. But it's wonderful, and I can't say I've even slightly regretted any part of this experience. I am going to finish this video up and immediately go back to playing because that's what I want to do right now. This is such a good game. However, I'm curious to hear from you guys. If you've picked it up and played it or are thinking about doing so, how are you finding it? I always read every comment and genuinely love hearing from you guys. If you would also be so kind to like the video, it really does help me out. Or you could hit the subscribe button and hopefully more of my videos will come across your path again in the future. But for now, my dudes, that about does it. I have an entire town to build and seas to plunder. I will see you next time for the next video.
You look like Steve the Pirate.
Peter, we've got to go play dodgeball.